I grew up in a well-off, like, white American suburb, except it had a very high suicide rate. Every year, there was someone attempting suicide. So when I was 15, the girl in front of me in math class committed suicide, and I had a really hard time dealing with that. So I was in therapy, and I had difficulty finding, like, a good therapist. But even when I found a really great therapist, every year it was someone else. So the next year I lost my childhood best friend to suicide. So I attempted and struggled with suicidality on and off for the next 4 years and never felt like I was able to get a handle on it, despite, you know, trying therapy, being on medication. My parents had brought me to alternative therapists. So by the time I got to college, I was bullied there. And by the end of my first year, I was just still really struggling. So the dean of students placed me on mandatory medical leave because they decided that I was too much of a liability for them to have on campus.
Which, by the way, pissed us off. How they handled that.
Yeah, it was not great, not ideal, because there was I was like, what do I do at this point? I was like going to them for help, and without telling me, they called my parents, they had them pick me up early, and then were like, you can't come back here until you've shown considerable effort towards resolving your issues. At which point I was
Fake
like...
language.
Right. I was like, my parents have literally bribed me to try acupuncture. Like, that's how far we've gone in terms of, like, trying hard. And so, like, beyond that, like, what does considerable effort mean? Like, what options do I have left? So that's the situation that I was in, where I was like, I feel like I have exhausted literally every possibility. And my parents were desperate to help me and, like, so concerned. So my mom turned to Google, as one does. And she found this guy on Google, and she was like, I think this man can help us. I was not thrilled about the idea, but I didn't really have a choice. She brought it to my licensed psychologist that I had at the time. He dug into this man's teachings a little bit, and he was like, some of the things he's saying make sense. Why not?
Yeah,
Try
we
it
looked
out.
at him and seemed benign.
Yeah. Try it out. He's talking about unconditional love, like, what could go wrong with that? Yeah.